Hi, I'm Random Trashy and welcome to the channel. I've got something brand new for you today. It's the G&P TMR 10-inch. New gun by them. I didn't manage to find it anywhere in the UK, but when I was ordering my AMO 14, I come across this gun because it wasn't for sale in the UK, something a little bit rare. I thought I would go out and buy it. Now there is a big difference between this and the Aries guns that I normally review, and there's some pros and there's some cons, and I think we'll definitely jump into that further in the review. First off, like I mentioned when I got the Aries out of the box, the packaging and everything that the Aries comes in is far superior to what G&P offer. Very bland brown box, and also the gun rattles about in there without any protection, whereas with the Aries they come in a nice crushed cardboard surround and the gun can't move. So getting into this, just a plain brown box from G&P, very flimsy too. You know, there isn't going to be offered up much protection by this box in comparison to the Aries. We have got some thin foam that sits over the top. Again, it's probably not going to offer up much protection in transit. Getting into what was actually, supporting the gun. The gun literally sat in the bottom of the box like that, surrounded by a few of these styrofoam pieces. Really not going to offer up much protection if this was to be, shipped between countries, or if you're having this, 24-hour, 48-hour shipped, where sometimes the packages are handled in a bit of a rush. There is some big indentations inside this box where you can tell that the gun's definitely been slammed around in here, but you can tell that there's been no damage done to it, which was really lucky on my side. But the way that G&P package their guns, for expensive guns, £300–350 guns, I would definitely expect more from them. Just going into the rest of what's in the box, we've got the magazine that comes with the gun. We've got an unjamming rod here with a rubber tipped end, and then you've got a swab end on this end of the rod. Always handy, to be honest. I don't have that many jams. I've never really come across guns jamming up that often, and if I do, I always find splitting them apart is much easier than trying to poke one of these down the barrel. So put that to one side. We've got some information from G&P here. It did jar me a little bit just through some of the details that are in here. Really don't apply to this gun at all. I think it's put in here just for this safety information, so obviously don't fire it in your own face. Using it out in public, you can get arrested. Don't let babies play with it, and it tells you here not to take it apart, which in essence we all have to take our guns apart for maintenance and also for upgrading, or if there's any problems. So how you get around that, I don't know. How to use the safety selector, and then the rest of the information doesn't apply to this gun because it's talking about having a battery in the front handguard, whereas mine is in the stock, so it doesn't really apply. On the back we've got adjusting iron sights. This comes with some set iron sights on top, but really not applicable. These are handguard ones like you would get on an M16. Also loading it up, but a very specific speed loader is used there, not one that you're going to get. And also spraying silicone oil into the side port, which I really don't like the idea of at all. If you're going to lube your gun, take it apart, lube it properly, don't just spray it in through a window. So a little bit disappointing from that, but really where the quality comes in is from the gun itself. So as you can see, this is the 10-inch hand-railed version with the 10.5-inch outer barrel with a really nice quality flash hider on here. Solid metal body, really nice good solid stock tube on here, and a very solid stock as well. I've seen quite a few of the guns come out of factories before. G&G's normally pretty bad for it. D-Boys, where you get stock and it rattles about like hell. There's a lot of movement and a lot of noise coming from the gun, whereas you rattle this, there is no movement, no noise coming from this at all, which is an absolute bonus. It means it's a very solid build. Now I've held a few ARs recently just by going to the range and stuff, and the body quality on this is phenomenal. It's definitely up there with some of the ARs I've actually seen out on the range. Really nice quality, lovely seams between the upper and lower receiver. The way that everything's machined finished here, lots of very nice detail in there. Hopefully you can see all that. Very good quality. Moving from the back to the front, really nice stock here. As you can see, it's got a little window on the top there with numbers in it so that you can slide your stock into different positions. If you definitely always use this stock on 3, set it on 3 like it is there, you know that you're going to be good to go and get this gun out on range as quick as possible. Little bit of rubber on the back here. It doesn't really help with recoil. You get very minimal recoil from airsoft guns, but for comfort, fantastic. Included on this back stock is an ambidextrous sling point as well. Really nice. If you are an ambidextrous shooter, you can shoot both sides. That allows you to throw the sling either side. Moving into this, I'm just going to slide this stock completely off. So you can see very nice quality buffer tube sealed at the end, and to get into your power, You just unscrew this little cap on the end of here. As you can see, the markings down the back stock tube, and in here is the cable for your batteries. Now this did come with a micro Deans on it, and I've converted it over to a standard Deans purely because all my friends run Deans, and you know, all my batteries are on Deans as well. So if your battery does go down, you run short, always try and go with what the rest of your team's got, just in case one of them's carrying a spare and they can get you out of trouble for a little while. So just getting this stock back on here, slide it down into the first position, pull it out from the base, and then you should be able to slide that all the way down. A little bit tricky, but give it a pull and it will eventually go. Moving down again, we've got another dual sling point left and right hand side, which is really, really nice if you're going to mount the gun up and get it onto a single point sling. That's the perfect height, I always find. Sits it just about here. You want the stock of the gun underneath your chin, so you've got full head movement. So another really nice thing. Moving towards the body now. Absolutely solid body, as I've mentioned before. Really nice grips. We've got this golf ball in texture, the same as on the stock, the same as on the grip and the magazine that come with the gun. So I'll just put that in, but just to let you guys know, as you can see, it is empty of any BBs, just so we know that it's not going to fire by accident. So we've got that lovely stipple in. Have got quite a few marks on the body. We've got the SEAL Team frog here, and we've got the MOTS logo here, and then on this side we've got the multi-objective training system text. I'm not a massive fan of all of the writing that comes on these guns. It really doesn't do much for me at all, but saying that, it does wear down quite quickly, and I think that white glossy shine goes off of this quite fast, which I'm quite happy about. Moving up towards the top rail, we've got a fixed top rail with some nice iron sights that came with it. I know that these iron sights are quite sought after. I'm not an iron sights person, but they are very nice. The fixed top rail is something worth mentioning. A lot of them bolt onto the top of the gun. You always get that little bit of rattle in there if it's bolted on. The fixed top rail, the fact that it's actually part of the upper itself, gives you a lot of stability if you are running nice optics on here. If you're going to go for real steel optics, which a lot of people are going for now just because of the quality, if they are fixed and sat flat on there, you're going to dial them in on there just as good as you are going to on a real steel. Another nice thing is you've got the rail markings all the way down, so that if you do set your scope, or if you put a PEC box on there and you know that if it's sitting at T31 at the face of the PEC box, every single time you put that back on, you know the laser's going to be in the same place, which is a very, very nice touch. And you've got a full length rail, which is really nice. Moving down this modular handguard, obviously it's modular in the reason of you've got these bolts on the side, and you can just screw a piece of 22 weaver rail on there. It means you can put any accessory on you want, and then you've got at the 45 angles, you've got the Keymod slot for you to be able to put Keymod accessories back in. So this side of the gun, again, Navy SEALs logo, like I mentioned before, very, very nice release for the magazine. Very, very solid sounding, which is really nice when you are getting a mag in there. When you're up on your gun, you drop that out, you really want some nice responsiveness from that button, and this is a lot better than the Aries. The Aries body being plastic, sometimes you don't get that assertive sound from the magazines as they go in, and they can feel a little bit loose. The magazines sit dead tight in this, and as I say, that drop of release, you get that nice catch release noise, and going back in, you get that real solid confirmation click when it goes back in there. The charging handle on mine is a little bit stiff, as you can see. It does make a little bit of a noise when it goes back and returns back in. As you can see, I've got my ProWin hop-up unit in this from the off. Moving down to the handrail, really, really nice handrail, beautiful quality. The Keymod has been done very, very well, and the screw holes and everything look amazing. I would say that that's probably billet aluminium that's on the front of this, and you've got that lovely gas rod that runs through the front just like a real steel gun, which is even better for that realism. To be honest, it's a very, very solid little gun with the flash hider and everything on, that's capable of taking a suppressor as well. The one thing I will jump into just before I cut to the chrono footage for this is this gun come out the box very hot, and you will find that from guns from Japan. And I won't say any company names, but there are quite a few UK companies that will take the Japanese guns, they bring them down to about 320, 350 FPS, and then they will charge you to put the original spring back in. That is one of the reasons why I don't order from UK companies. Also, I've found that UK companies are far less considerate when it comes to customer service. Now, if you are an airsoft company and you completely disagree with me, You know, I'm not saying that this is aimed towards all UK companies. I'm just saying some of the top tier companies that I've spoke to about guns, you know, willing to spend £600 with them on the phone that day for them to get hold of me some guns. They absolutely refused to let them come to me as they came out of the factory because of the rules and regulations set around the business. Now, if that's their company rules, that's fine, but please be open and honest with me when you are talking to me on the phone. So that's not gonna, I'm not gonna point any names out or any companies or anything like that. I went to Red Wolf Hong Kong, I spoke to the guys on the phone, spoke perfect English, got an order done within 30 seconds. They gave me a little bit of discount as well, obviously because of the reviews that were going to be going up and because I was buying 2 brand spanking new guns that are out on the line. There isn't very many reviews for them. I've also bought myself 5 hex mags as well, which is another new item, which Red Wolf were really good about. So if you do want to do an order, you're willing to take a little bit of a hit on the shipping. I paid £30 in total for tax, bringing the total for 2 guns and a box of 5 mags to £430, which is an absolute steal considering I would imagine this is a £300 gun, and the Aries at the moment is going for about £250, so we're well over already. And then I managed to squeeze in there 5 hex mags. So please don't be afraid of importing. No, I've got nothing against UK sellers, you know, there is obviously some good ones out there, but the experience that I've had with a few recently, I want the guns come to me the same way it left the factory. Anyway, enough of that, over and done with. Let's jump to the footage for this and then we'll do a wrap up at the end. So guys, as you can see, the G&P chronoed in at about 410 FPS, which is phenomenal out of the box, running on standard internals with absolutely nothing done to it. You get the reliability from a G&P, then that gun is going to be a heavy performer out there on the field. Really, for me, I'm going to slap a sight on top of this, leave it as it is, use my hex mags and be done with it. This will be a gun that I go to when I'm out with my team door kicking. The Aries for me is going to be the gun that I'm going to go to as a backup when I'm not on the sniper rifle. So if people get in too close, I can use a very short SBR styled rifle and I can go and pick people off as I need to. If I go out with the guys, need to hit out a little bit more range, something a little bit more solid that I could potentially use for the day, then this is the go-to gun for me. Very, very happy with what G&P delivered, although I was not impressed with the boxing up of the gun and the way that it was presented. I do think the gun overall is phenomenal. Now, I've looked at ICS's, Umarex's, G&G's, D-Boys, you know, there's so many new gun makers coming to the market now as well. Things like Bolt, you know, their guns look great, but for me, a very, very solid gun. I think that they will have to really push hard for their manufacturing process to get anywhere close to G&P at the moment. These guns are absolutely beautiful, very, very solid, and look at the performance that you get out of the box. So if you do have any more questions about this, this is the G&P 10-inch TMR, then please feel free to drop a comment in the box below. Other than that, thank you very much for watching and I will see you all soon.